Alright, so I'm going to be replacing one of the wireless antennas on this Lenovo Edge 2-1580. I believe I already made a video taking it apart and talking about all the stuff, so I'm going to skip ahead to just the part of basically replacing the antenna. So I'm going to use a PH1 or JS1 screwdriver to remove the screws from the bottom. Alright, you want to keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that is I put them flat side down like this on my desk. In the pattern I remove them. Usually I like to go by rows, so there's 4 along the top row, 3 here, and then 4 more down here. And that's how I keep track of them. Alright, if my videos help you out, make sure to like, subscribe, and share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. I mostly do computer and electronics reviews or repairs, but I've started doing a lot of like store-bought item reviews and stuff. More thorough reviews, not just like simply showing what it is. So if you like those kinds of videos, I have those and I make those as well. Alright, mostly I've been doing Costco stuff, but every once in a while I'll find something that if I like it on Amazon or something, then I'll consider doing reviews of that too, so keep that in mind. Alright, but anyways, let's go ahead and finish taking this thing apart. So we got all the screws out. Let's go ahead and pop this off. Alright, so this cover comes out pretty easily. Again, I have another video showing how to completely disassemble. This thing is actually somewhat broken, so yeah. Alright, so I don't know, the clips that kind of keep it from falling out are broken there. It's fine when the cover's on, but when it's off, it's like kind of risky. Anyways, let's go ahead and we're gonna disconnect the battery here, and then we're gonna just remove the screen assembly and everything. Alright, so let's zoom in. Again, I made a video, I believe, of the complete disassembly, so if you're looking for that and you can't find it, just let me know. But anyways, I'm gonna disconnect the battery here. Basically just wiggling this connector and popping it out. Then what we're gonna do, we're gonna open up the computer again. Alright, and then we're going to press and hold the power button for about 15 seconds to drain any residual power. This will make it a lot safer to work on. Alright, I know it's kind of zoomed in too much. Let me zoom back out. Alright, so we're going to hold the power button about 15 seconds, and then that'll make it safer to work on, especially if you're going to mess with the screen connector, the LCD or LVDS connector. If you don't do this, there's a good chance you could fry the motherboard or the backlight circuit. So it's always nice to do that. Alright, if you have room on your table, what you'll want to do here is you want to open up the computer to about 180 degrees, basically making it flat out completely like this. Alright, and this should make it easier to kind of work on. We're gonna at least, actually, I'm gonna fold it back even further. So we're gonna make it all the way, I don't know what exactly I'm not thinking of math right now, but anyways, we're folding it backwards to where it makes a 90-degree angle here. Alright, and then what we're going to do now, we're going to go ahead and pull out these connectors. So we have the antennas here. So these pop out from the tails. Alright, let me zoom in here so you can kind of see better. Now let's see if I can show this. Alright. So the antennas, you pop out from the tails, okay? I don't know if it really matters, but you got this white cover on this part of the antenna for the auxiliary arrow, and then the main one, the black wire, it doesn't have that, so it's just all black. Anyways, let's go ahead and pop the antennas out, just like this. You go from the tail and pull straight up, alright, just like that. If it's stuck, you can kind of wiggle it a little bit, but you kind of want to try and just pull it straight up. Alright, so anyways, let's go ahead and get these wires out. This computer has been worked on before. I don't know if I was the only one that worked on it, but I do see some stuff that doesn't look like it would come that way from factory, so keep that in mind. We are going to pull this back, and then we're going to move this wire out, and then we're going to thread it out through these spots here. Okay. Again, our main goal is to change the antenna wire, so we're taking all of this out. LCD cable we're going to remove as well. Let's flip that latch up, and then we're going to go ahead and pull this out. Again, make sure that you disconnected the battery and press and hold the power button 15 seconds with the screen open before messing with this cable. Alright, so now we're going to get the other antenna out. It is kind of trapped under all these other wires, so you might have to move these out. I think there's another wire here that we have to remove as well. Yeah, so let's go ahead and unthread these wires from the fan so that we kind of have some room to remove these other cables. Okay, and this other cable that's underneath this adhesive stuff here, we have to remove as well. So this cable is a push down into the board. It's actually sticking up vertically. Hopefully you can see. So I'm going to just use my fingernails here at the edge of the connector and basically try and wiggle to pull this out. Let me see if I can get it. Oh, it's pretty difficult. There's not really much area to grab there, but I might have to use some tweezers. Let's see. Let's loosen up, get some extra slack here. So got that. All right. And I'm going to try and grab the connector as close to it as possible, and we're kind of just wiggle it, and there we go. So the connector looks like this. You can see the gold pins through this side that they actually will face this direction, and this side you can see the rainbow color of wires that faces up towards the hinges area. All right, anyways, let's go ahead and zoom back out. It's very important because if you do happen to replace those cables, or if you twist it around or something, you have to make sure it goes back the same way. If you try and force it in the other way, you can damage the computer. All right, so we're getting all of this out. I don't know if this foil ends there, if we should peel it up from there, or let's actually peel it up from this side, because this side looks to be just hollow here, so there's not really anything that can it'll get caught on it if it's like crooked or creased. Over here, if we make creases in it, it'll push on the back of the cover. So let's get this cable out as well. Okay, and then you can thread it out from under here. All right, it just swings out. There's a raised plastic here as well, so you kind of swing it out and lift it up a little. Right, it is, oh, it's kind of tough to get it out of that area. Let me see, I'm going to use this plastic tool to kind of help guide it over more. Okay, and then we can hopefully lift it out from that gap. There we go. Same thing with this one. The wire's thicker than the gap, that's why it's difficult to get it out. Alright, so we got all these wires disconnected. There's 4 of them. And you will have to also be careful with the LCD LVDS cable here that's trapped under here. If you can unthread that. Oh, it came out pretty easily. Alright, now we're going to get these screws out. There's 3. Same thing here, there's 3. And actually there's one more down here. So hopefully they're not hiding any of this hinge underneath the motherboard. It doesn't look like it. So let's go ahead and get these screws out. Alright, so 3 on this side. And keep track of where you got them from. You don't want to put these screws in the corners up here. Yeah, because if you do, then when you put the cover on, you're going to have some issues. Okay, so got those 3 screws out. Now we're going to get these 3 and then this last one down there, so 4 on this side. Alright, so let's get those 3 out and the 4th one. Alright, I'm hoping that we're going to be able to just lift the screen out and hopefully it will just be easy. So I'm actually holding onto the screen higher up right now. Let me zoom out a little bit. So I'm holding onto the screen here so it doesn't just fall over. Okay, and hopefully now we should be able to just lift the screen up and out. And yes, we can. Alright, so now that we've got this out, we're going to set this aside. Alright, since we're not worrying about that. And we are going to have to get this out of here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to rotate the hinge over. So there's actually broken plastic because these hinges were broken before. So I'm actually going to rotate the hinge this way. Alright, let's see if I can rotate this one as well. It's a little tough to rotate the hinge by hand like this, okay, but there we go. Okay, so now I can kind of have it more flat on my desk. Now we're going to get these pieces out. So we're going to use a little needle to get the rubber screw covers out. So just get a little needle, poke that, and get that out. Okay, we're going to do that on both sides. Sorry, no, I'm not zoomed in enough here. Hopefully this will help a little bit with seeing what I'm doing, but get the needle, pop that out. Okay. All right, we're going to use the PH1 JS1 screwdriver again. We're going to get this screw out and do that for both sides. Normally there are some strong clips that kind of hold these covers in place, but because the hinge broke, it kind of damaged those. What I do is I usually get in one side here, the corner, and you kind of lift this and you can pop this out. This one, actually also this plastic is broken a little bit, so yeah, so the screws were mainly what's holding it in place. We're going to do the same thing on this side. Just get that plastic piece out. Again, normally you would have to kind of pull it from this side and then you kind of wiggle it to get it out. All right, and now we're going to get the middle bar out. Let me see, let's zoom out a little bit more so you can see the whole thing at once. So I kind of just get my fingernail in there or plastic pry tool, and you can kind of go in from this bottom little crevice and you kind of just pop it up, so just like that, and then you kind of just wiggle this around and you can get that out. So there we go. I think you have to actually start from the crevice down there, so you can't actually do it from the top side. There's one screw here, so we're going to remove that screw. So now we got all the screws out from the bottom part of the screen. Okay, I forget if I had to slide the screen up or down. Some models you slide the screen up, some you slide it down. Hopefully the epoxy didn't stick to the screen to make this impossible, but it looks like it's coming up, so we should be okay. Alright, so I think we have to slide this down because sliding it up isn't really doing anything. So let's see, is it sliding down or up? Okay, I'm going to try with a suction cup, though it might be better with tape. Okay, so we do slide it up. So I pulled up the screen slightly and then I slid it that way. So you actually have to lift it slightly and then slide it. Right, and let's see if now we can get the whole thing. So here you can see the screw alignment is not lined up, so now the screen should release here. Okay, it is coming out. The left side's, okay, there we go. The left side was stuck a little bit more, so there we go. It looks like we're going to have to actually close the hinge all the way to be able to access this. So this is going to be tough. You actually have to rotate it from this part that's kind of lined up with the hinge. Sorry, it's not focusing right. It's like getting all blurry. I don't know why, but we're going to rotate it from this side. Okay, it's going to be very tough. Kind of want to squeeze here to hold the hinge in place while you kind of turn this. But yeah, I think we're gonna have to do that. Normally you can undo the whole hinge and take it out, but because this one was damaged, we can't do that. So let me get my needle nose pliers here. Okay, I'm gonna get some needle nose pliers to work on this. Probably these might work best. So we're gonna get this needle nose plier, and we're gonna grab the hinge here and we're just gonna rotate it. Hopefully it will be okay. So I need to grab it this way. So we're gonna grab from here. Okay, hopefully you can see I'm holding it with the needle nose pliers and we're just rotating the hinge. And the reason I'm doing that is because I can't remove the hinge from the bezel since we epoxied it in place. I need this gap here to be able to access the cable. So the cable is actually covered with a rubber piece here. There you go. So that rubber piece can actually come out. So we're gonna actually do that on both sides. So this one, the hinge is a lot bigger, so you can actually probably do this with your hand, where you kind of just rotate it basically like you're closing the screen, and here you can see now you have more access to that. All right. So if I pull this, you can see that rubber piece comes out. We're going to leave that one in there. We want to actually pull this one out because this one, if I remember correctly, is the side that broke the worst, and actually the wireless antenna got damaged. So let me see if I can zoom in and show this a bit better. It's going to be a little tough to see, but we're going to basically pull this out. Probably have to close the hinge more. There we go. So we'll pull this out, and you can see this rubber piece now came out. And now that rubber piece came out, we can actually separate it from the antenna wires and everything. I don't know if it matters if it's upside down or right side up. It doesn't look like it. But if you want to make sure it's the same way, you can see this notch in it like that. So this basically opens up and the wires go in there and it just slots in there, and the wires come out of this area where it has these grooves or notches. Alright, so now we can actually kind of get the wires somewhat out of here. You can see the wires over here, and we can kind of get this. Let's see, hopefully we can actually remove the wireless antenna. Alright, so this is going to be tough because I'm going to lift this and it's stuck. So what we're going to have to do is actually, now we're going to have to rotate, now we're going to have to rotate these hinges all the way back actually, so that we have room to flip the screen forward. Okay, so I rotated this hinge back, and then this hinge I'm going to try and rotate back as well. But you want to be careful, make sure these cables stay on top. Okay, so we have these cables on top now, but I'm going to rotate the hinge so it's down and out of the way. Okay, now let's see if we can lift this up here. There we go. And here you can see the wireless antenna here, and this is where it broke. I might end up having to just cut this because the epoxy did go on top of it. So I don't know if I'm just going to be able to rip this out and then put the new one back in. We did use some saran wrap over the epoxy, so here you can see we can just actually peel this out. Some of it will stay, of course, but most of it we got out. Okay. And you can actually see the wire goes through this routing area. Hopefully it's clear enough. I don't know because I can't zoom in too much, otherwise I don't have room on my desk to move this. Alright, let me see if I can move it back at least a little bit more so you can get a... Yeah, no, okay, maybe here. Okay, so we're going to try and unroute this. If my head gets in the way, I'm sorry. I can't really see what I'm recording while I'm doing this because I have to look close up. Right, so we got that out, and actually this wire, okay, we can probably get this out. I think it's epoxy kind of stuck to it a little bit, but I think we can actually pull this out. Yeah, okay, so there we go. And then this side, I think it's just routed in there, so I think the cable is actually just in there. We can probably just pull that out. Yep, okay. But as you can see, it's peeling off the black rubber coating. Did it go underneath the other way? Oh shoot, okay. So it goes under here this way, so I might have to break some of that epoxy off to be able to get that out. So I'm gonna get a good flathead screwdriver and see if I can break some of this epoxy out. If you're doing this and you don't have didn't have to epoxy yours, then you probably don't have to worry about this. So this is a special case where most people aren't going to have this problem that I'm having with getting the wire out. But let's see, I might have to let's see, can I cut this epoxy with the flathead? There we go. So we're gonna try and get this out. That might be enough. Okay, so let's use my air blower and get the residue out of there. Okay, so hopefully, oh yeah, okay, so that's good enough. We got that, so now we got the wire out. If you want, you can, I mean, most people probably didn't epoxy theirs, but I'm gonna just cut a little bit more of this to make it easier to access later. Okay, just like that. Alright, there we go. Now what we're going to do, basically, Oh, actually, okay, we got this whole thing out, so that makes it easier. So we got the LCD panel out because this is just the LCD cable here. If you guys want the LCD number, you do want to check your own because it might be different. I've seen some where people upgrade it to a 4K or something, and even though their laptop model number is different, this might be different as well, or even though the laptop number is the same. But that's how you get the screen model number. It'll usually look like something like this. There's a 15.6 inch monitor, so, or LCD or screen, so that's why you see this 15156. So yeah, you'll want to check your screen to make sure the model number is the same, because if you just go with mine, you'll probably end up with issues. Okay, so anyways, let's go ahead and get the wire out completely. I'm going to zoom out here. But here you can see the JB Weld, how it's holding now, so it's holding really strong. Alright, so let's go ahead now and remove all of this. I'm going to actually remove the saran wrap on the side over here because it's not really needed anymore. So we have the JB Weld already set. Alright, and it should hold itself. So, sorry, the saran wrap is stuck to my hand. Okay, so as you can see, the way I did it, I tried to avoid getting it into the area so we can actually replace the cables in the future if for some reason these break as well. Though if it breaks again, most likely you'll want to replace this whole thing, but this one I put a lot of JB Weld and it ended up overflowing and I didn't know. But as you can see, we were able to get it out and it's not a problem. Alright, so there we go. Let's go ahead and unthread this cable through here. There's this metal thing that's kind of holding it slightly, but yeah, you just pull it through. Then you have this area where the antenna wires are going up here, and then the antenna is this big one. So it's just held in with some double stick adhesive. Basically, we just have to peel this up. You want to carefully peel this out. I mean, if you're getting new ones, then it doesn't matter. You can just tear this stuff. It's not really that big of a deal, but yeah, if you want to try and get it in the same spot, you can kind of see how it lines up. You kind of have this little groove here to match it up with, and let's go ahead and peel this off. Okay, so there's the antenna. That's what it looks like, and originally it was broken here. You can see the outside cabling is actually broken off, and it's just that internal wire there. So we're gonna set that aside. We got a replacement antenna here. Just peel this open and get this out. Hopefully the antenna is correct. It looks smaller than the other one, but I mean, an antenna is kind of an antenna. It might be a little bit less signal on this one, but let's see here. Alright, so let's get this out. Actually, maybe they gave this antenna is the other side antenna. Let's see. Hopefully the wire is the same length, because if you look where this wire's coming out, this one's a smaller antenna, but before the bigger antenna was the other one. So I don't know. We'll see. Okay. I mean, it is supposed to be the secondary antenna, the auxiliary antenna. The main thing though is the length of this wire that's coming off. So I'm gonna check and make sure the length of these wires are the same. So, okay, the board at the top is about the same size. So let's go ahead and check now the length of the wire. So what I'm going to do is hold them about the same. And then once I do that, I'm going to hold the wire here, and we're just going to slowly work our way following this, pulling the wire somewhat tight. And they're about the same length, maybe like less than a half or quarter centimeter. Okay, so that should be okay. Let me see if you want to see what the back of the antennas look like. So they are different designs here, as you can see, but it should be okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get this into place. I'm just going to line it up with the groove. The main thing that you want to match is the connector. So basically the way it connects to the wireless card and the length of the wire. Alright, so this should, either way it will be better than the broken one that they had. Let me see, so there was two. As you can see, this antenna is a much shorter one. So yeah, that's correct, it would go on there. I don't know if this copper shield is necessary or makes a huge difference, but yeah, for some reason they used a shorter copper adhesive here. Alright, anyways, let's go ahead and get this through here. So get what's going like that. I probably should have kind of memorized better of how the wire routing was, but this also has like creases in the wire, and it is following the same thing, so I think we should be okay. Alright, and I think we're not supposed to put a wire through this, so yeah, so we're gonna keep it going this way. Then it goes down this way, and it just goes through and gets locked in by all these little grooves here. So I gotta push this wire into all these grooves. Okay, just go in there. I'm gonna use the plastic tool to push it in, just because I can get more surface area to push it. I don't want to use my fingernail that's sharp and puncture it, so I'm using the flat side. I guess technically I could use the back of my fingernail, but this kind of makes it a little bit easier. Alright, so we're just following along here and then pushing the antenna into those little grooves to hold it in place again. Let me zoom in a bit for you guys. And we're just going to continue working our way all the way down here. Okay, just like that. Making sure it follows the original path. Technically it doesn't matter as long as you can actually get the screen in place and it doesn't damage this wire. But I think this has some somewhat tight tolerances here, so I think you do have to follow this if you can. Alright, so there we go. Now, oops, sorry. Now we're at this part where we can kind of run the wire back through under here. Okay, and you can see it follows just nicely. Goes back over that hook like before. Then we're going to follow this again, back under there. It looks like it's working out really well. Get that into this little groove here as well. And that notch. Around that little post there. Make sure it goes underneath, and there we go. Alright, so we got the wireless antenna into place nicely. Now what we're going to have to do is get the screen back up here. Oops, sorry, let me zoom out again. Okay, so we're going to have to get the screen back out here and following this. So let's go ahead and rotate this again. There we go. So we have this out here. We're going to have to get the wireless antenna back into there like before. Okay. Oh, also this metal piece is removable. I think the screw might be loose. So there's a screw here. I'm going to try and tighten that up. I think it's a PH0 or something. PH0 or JS0 screw. And I'm going to tighten that because it is wobbly. Oh yeah, it did need to be tightened. So I'm tightening that screw in there. Maybe I should add some JB weld to that, because when this screw comes out, you can actually slide this whole metal piece off. So I'm going to add some, not JB weld, some thread locker, the red thread locker. Alright, and we're going to add that to there. Okay. Good. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this screw back in. It's in the center inside this piece. I'll see if I can show you somewhat of a close-up. Let me make sure it's in there nice and tight. Okay, now that's tight. This piece is also, this side is fine. So we're going to leave that alone. Okay, let me show you the inside just so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so in here, there's a screw. Can I show that? There you go. Yeah, so I tightened that to hold that back into place. I also put a lot of red thread locker to hold that. All right, so now what we're gonna do, we're basically gonna get this pushed back into here like before, and we also need the screen in there. So let's go ahead and grab the screen. Okay, so we're gonna get this to go over under there. Okay, again, the screen will be slightly raised up because that's how you remove it. We're gonna get this into there. So what we're gonna do now, we have this piece. We're gonna now wrap the rubber piece around both of these wires. Okay. Just like this, get it around both. I'm gonna slide it down to the part where it kind of creases together, and we're basically gonna push that into there. So make sure it wraps around both pieces, and then push that rubber piece into the slot there. Okay, hopefully that's right. There we go. Okay, and now we can actually rotate the hinge backwards again, and now it's going under here. All right, that's how we want it. Rotate it that way, and there we go. Okay, so next thing we're gonna do, we need to get this lined back up. Again, we did raise it and slide it up that way. So now what you want to do is kind of keep some pressure around the edges, and then we're gonna slide it back down. So I don't know if I can do that with the suction cup easier. It might help. No, not really. Okay, so let me see how I can do this. It's difficult to do this in camera, but okay, so I put it so that the hinges are hanging over the edge of my desk, if you're like this. So that way I can kind of keep more pressure on the top here, and then hopefully I can slide it into place. There we go. Perfect. That's what I wanted. This side kind of didn't slide in right. Yeah, that side didn't. Oh, why is there a screw in there? Oh shit, I hope that... Okay, there's a magnet that took the screws. Let me make sure. Okay, all the other screws are okay. So I need to, hopefully we didn't damage the LCD panel, because I'll have to buy them a new one if it's damaged. Anyways, now we got that. So now it's flat because the hinges are hanging over the edge of the desk. I can keep this pressed down and then slide that into place. All right. And hopefully now everything is lined up right. Okay, looks good. All right, might have to slide it a little more if possible. There we go. All right, and now we got to get these screws back in. So we're going to get the middle screw back in first, of course. So actually, it looks like on this model, the middle screw is the only one holding the entire thing in place because the screen slides upwards. Normally what happens is the plastic keeps the thing from sliding down, but because this screen you slide it upwards, then these actually aren't really doing anything. I don't know what these screws here are for other than for decoration, cosmetics, just to make everything have this black uniform plastic strip across the bottom. So anyways, let's go ahead and get that in. We'll get this one covered as well. Alright, so this one, the epoxy didn't sit as flat because it kind of tore out from the hinge tore out from the screen. But it's a lot better than not having it, so let's go ahead and get that in. This one's has a little crack on it. Alright, so we'll get this cover and put that over the top as well. You actually want to do the opposite, so we're getting the top part in first, and then we're going to swing it down and just click it all into place, just like that. Alright, is this side not wanting to click into place? Okay, I might have to check that wire because it might not be sitting right. So let's see, I'm gonna rotate this, and let's rotate this hinge and try and see if we can fit it a bit better here. So I think it's not sitting in properly. Yeah, let's pull this back out and take a look here. So I think, sorry, my head's getting in the way. I think this isn't going in right. So I am gonna have to take the screen back out. Actually, it does help hold a little, I think. I don't think I can slide this forward with those in because there are plastic pieces. Yeah, okay. Never mind, there are plastic pieces that help hold it in place. Alright, so let's pop this back out. What did I do with the needle that I was using to pop those out with? Oh, did it get caught in the screen somewhere? Okay, let me use a thin flathead screw. Oh, I found the needle, sorry. Here it is. Okay, let's get that out. It was underneath the pliers. And then let's rotate this back over again, I guess. Okay, and let's get this out. Okay, let's get these other two screws out. Right, I was wrong, because there are these plastic pieces that are being held in, so that does prevent it from sliding up. Alright, so we're going to slide this back up, and I need to make sure these wires are going into the right place. I don't know what's preventing it. Is it this wire? The wireless antenna should be fine. Okay, I'm going to slide this back down into place. Make sure everything's lined up. Okay. Stay in place, please, and slide it down. Okay, so I'm not sure what's messing this part up, but let's go ahead and rotate this over again. Okay, so get that slid back over. Sorry, I'm doing this off camera. It's hard to do this in view. Get that into place. Okay, so I had to push these in a bit more, and I think that should be good. I hope. I think this wire's kind of in the way of the clips. But alright, let's go ahead now and get the screw back in. I'm gonna try putting the center one in first this time, just in case. So let's try and get this clipped in first, since that's the side that's having the problem. Okay, there we go. It clipped in right now. Alright, so we're gonna flip this back over. Okay, and then let's go ahead and get these little plastic covers that hold these parts into place again. Okay, there we go. This one. Alright, and we'll get the rubber pieces back in. Go, and the last one. Alright, and now we just got to get all of this back into the computer. So I'm going to rotate it like this again. Right? Alright, so we'll get it this way. Actually, we were having it go this way, huh? So I'm going to rotate it backwards again. go. Just like that. And let's go ahead and get the computer and reinstall it. So we got the computer here. Gonna get these cables and hinges all back into place. All right, get it lined up. Okay, and let's get all these screws back in. I'm gonna put one screw first, and then we're gonna put thread locker on all these screws to make sure that they stay in place tight. You don't want them to come loose, because if they come loose, then that can cause problems and the hinges can break. So I'm gonna get a little bit of thread locker on each screw here. Okay, just like that. And we're gonna put that on all of the screws. We only need a little bit. Get that in. All right. The reason I'm doing this is because if these screws come loose, they can easily like rip out these screw mounts. That's how the screen originally broke. That's how they usually break, is these screws come loose, and then that little wobbly room for wobbling creates a lot more prying force for the hinges to rip out the screws, and that's what happened. So I'm gonna add this to make sure that that doesn't happen in the future. All right, we're almost done. Okay, and now for the last screw. Man, that was a lot longer of a job than I was expecting for replacing the antenna. Part of it's just because it was broken before, so if your hinge wasn't broken, then it won't be as much as time consuming, but maybe because you're new to the repair, it might be time consuming. But all right, so we got all those screws back in. Now we got to get all these wires back into place. So get this big wire back into that little groove there. There we go. Flip that latch back up. Maybe I should zoom in and do each one separately. It might. Okay, I don't know why my phone feels so hot. I don't think it's charging right now. All right, so we'll get this cable in. Make sure these pins on it aren't dirty. All right, get that cable into place. And you want to make sure this is in all the way, because if you turn the computer on and it's not in properly, if it's kind of crooked or anything like that or loose, then you can actually destroy your computer. So be very careful with that. All right, now we're going to get this wireless antennas back into place, following these grooves. Okay. All right, so this one, I think it goes back over there. I don't know if does it need to go into that one? Yeah, I think so. Okay. So get it back over there. I forgot one of them had the wire underneath and the wire was on top. I think this one, the wire's on top. So we're going to go this way, and this one is the auxiliary cable. So we're going to get that back over there and line it up and click that. Oops, sorry, couldn't see. Line it up and click it into place. The way you know it's lined up is if you try and move it around while it's in place. If you use like your fingernail or something smooth on top, it stays in place. But anyways, there we go. Next, we're going to go over onto this side and do the same thing. So we're going to get both wires through this. I don't think it matters which one goes first. I'm going to put the wireless antenna first, though I don't know. I don't think it matters. Yeah, so let's go ahead and push that one in. All right, and then we're going to get this connector in. I think this is for like the cameras or something. Push that into place. There we go. So both wires are in there now. I don't see anything else really forcing this to go a certain way, so I think it's just from routing it this way. Okay, I'm going to route this cable first, and we'll route the wireless antenna afterwards. So, okay, well, we'll just route it through, and then I'll figure out the excess slack later with what's going on. Okay, and if I remember correctly, rainbow wires go that way and the pins go that way. So I probably should have plugged the antennas later. But there we go. Clean that up. Yep. Alright, and push that cable in. I'm using the edges of the connector. And we're going to just fold this back down. Make sure that follows the routing of the wire. There we go. And we have that excess because this cable goes over the top. Or not the cable, the tape. Alright, so we're going to get this all routed again. Just like the other one. Alright, and we'll get the other antenna plugged in now. Actually, let's plug in the main antenna first, so I'm going to unplug that one. Let's get the main antenna plugged in. Push that in. Alright, there we go. We'll get this one on top. Auxiliary antenna. That up. Come on. Go and click that in. Perfect. Put the tape back on top. Push this back down. Make sure this goes into place. We're going to tape this back over the top. Going to have this follow the guides. Then we're going to get this wire for the charge port connector and make sure that goes on top as well to hold all those cables in place. Just like this and just like that. Okay. And this wire doesn't really go completely under all of these, so we're going to leave it like that. Then this excess slack of the wireless antenna wire goes here, and then we put this back on top, right? And there we go. So we got all the wires and everything back into place. Now we just got to put the bottom cover back on. Oops, zoomed out way too much. Don't need to see all the junk everywhere. Okay. So let's go ahead and get this. This thing, again, it's like falling back over, so I kind of have to hold that in place. Let me see, does that actually... Okay. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to hold that Ethernet thing up like this. And, oh, we do have to close this because the screen needs to wrap over the top. So, okay, let's go ahead and close the screen. Carefully close it over. I'm pushing on the hinges here. Ow, okay, there we go. Alright, so let's go ahead now and get the thing back into place. So we'll get this back over the top. Kind of have to hook the top over. Okay, and then it's tough to do this with that broken piece here. So hook that over the top and then drop it into place. Good. There we go. So that's now in the right spot. Everything looks good. So now all we have to do is get all the screws. Oh, shoot. I forgot to reconnect the battery. Yeah, you don't want to forget to reconnect the battery because if you don't have the battery connected, of course, your computer's not going to work on battery power. So let's go ahead and reconnect the battery. Just line it up, make sure it goes straight in, and then pinch the two together. Okay, just like that. If you're getting a new battery or you twist it or aren't sure, make sure the red wires are going up towards the fan and the black wires are going down towards the battery. All right, there we go. Let's go ahead now and put this all back together. Okay, sorry for that missing part and confusion. We're gonna hook this back over the top again. Just like that. Get that all into place. There we go. Perfect. And now we just got to get all the screws back in. So I'm going to continue PH1, JS1 screws and get all of those in. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So hopefully this video helped you guys. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices. And again, if it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. These are customer computers again, so I don't own them. Usually by the time you'll see these videos, the customer would have already picked them up. So keep that in mind. Alright, and also I'm not allowed to experiment on customer computers because if something goes wrong, they'll blame me or they'll wonder why something else got damaged when it wasn't even part of the initial issue. So, yeah. Alright, anyways, almost done getting all of this back together. If you needed to see a tutorial on other components, I did do a more thorough like kind of a guide of what's in the computer. So if you wanted to see, I have another video of this model. And yeah, anyways, you're welcome to stay. And when we have 3 other screws to put, they were missing this one screw down there, so I'm not going to put that screw back in. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Alright, screw. Oh, I do want to turn this on and then see if the wireless works, but I'm not supposed to show all the wireless networks in the area anyways, so I'll at least show that it's powering on and still working, okay? So let's go ahead and open this up, power it up. Keyboard's lighting up. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, the keyboard turned off, but there's the screen. Alright, and that's pretty much it. So here you can see date and time, 12:26 a.m. Friday, December 17th. I need to get some sleep, but that's pretty much it. I'm going to shut this down. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Alright, let's drop this spike.